you doing today? It's Jules here, and I'm just going to double check that everything's working okay. Looks like it is. So we're going to start our 4th YouTube live. I've been here since Thursday, Friday morning, yesterday afternoon and this afternoon, so I'm really pleased to have you along. My name is Jules and I write and illustrate children's picture books, and also I make videos on drawing and publishing every Friday. Thanks so much for sticking around with me these last few days, especially since I've had a few flippin' tech issues, as you may well know, but I have it sorted. I've finally done it today. I have one camera here, another camera pointing downwards at what I'm going to be drawing, and it's all lit and in focus. Hopefully the sound's not too bad. I know that's one thing I'm definitely going to need to work on, is getting some better sound equipment, because it's not brilliant, is it? Okay, so the reason why I did this was because I know that we've all had some tricky times lately, what with COVID and the elections, and we've got Brexit coming up and lots of other things as well, tons of other things that people are generally feeling quite stressed about. It's quite a stressful time for all of us. So I thought if we just do a bit of drawing, that would, well, it helps my mood, just to kind of take my mind off of everything for a few minutes and not think about the things that are worrying me. So that's why I invited you to come along and do this with me, and I'll show you what we did yesterday, and that is this squirrel. So yesterday we did this little chap, and this is in watercolour and watercolour pencils. If you want to have a look at the blank version, in the description for this video you'll find a link, and all you've got to do is click on that, and I'll email you the link where you can download all of the pictures that we've done since Thursday. Hello Kellas and Marilyn, good afternoon to you both, or maybe it's morning or possibly middle of the night, who knows. Do answer the question. I see that Kellas or Kellas, I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, sorry, says to the question, which mammals hibernate in the UK? And you're saying fox. So I will answer that at the end. Don't let me forget, for goodness sake. There are 3 mammals that hibernate in the UK. So today we're going to be looking at this little guy here. I've already drawn it. This is just on cartridge paper, and I've used my Staedtler Mars Micron pencil, 0.5mm pencil. It's quite thin, so it makes a good mark. I've already drawn this out because when I was setting up my table earlier, I realised it's much better for you to be able to see it if I'm drawing upside down. So you can imagine that trying to draw this but upside down would have been really tricky to do that live. So I've drawn it already on my cartridge paper, and I just thought we'd colour it in. But actually doing that, drawing something upside down, is quite a good little exercise to do sometimes. If you've got a photograph of somebody or something, but you turn it round the wrong way and then draw it upside down, copy it upside down, that makes quite an interesting little exercise to do. So this guy's a fox. I'm just going to start off by giving him a little bit of colour on his coat, and I'm going to darken that up as well. I'm just giving it a base colour. So foxes have, let's find another tip out. These are colouring, these are watercolour soluble pencils, but what I'm probably going to do is mostly just use them, in fact completely use them, just as normal colouring pencils, without using any water. So I'm just going to start, he's a red fox, this guy. I'm just going to start colouring him in, and just using a fairly light touch. So the way that you can control how dark something is to hold your pencil further up like that, and then you're forced to make a lighter motion. Like this. And if you did this on watercolour paper, what you could do is actually go in afterwards with a brush and some water and just make that, because if you saw on the first day when I did the a picture of my dog Maisie, when you put a bit of water to your water soluble pencils, they really come alive all of a sudden. It looks amazing. And then if you want to, you can go over this with another colour. So I think I'm going to go over that with a bit of red, because he's a red fox, this one. And as you can see, he's got some Christmas cards that he's taking to the post box. Post boxes look like this in the UK, and they're bright red, like the old telephone boxes that we used to have. So what can I tell you about foxes? Well, there are lots of different varieties, and they're all canine, and they live almost everywhere across the globe. They like living in woodland areas or farmland, and of course in urban areas. Okay, I'm going to do his tail, but what I must remember is to leave that end white, because they have this white shock of fluff at the end of their tails, don't they? Yeah, and so foxes, they're very well adapted to living near us, and they eat loads of different variety of things. They eat small mammals like rabbits and mice. They eat berries and mushrooms and insects, so beetles, worms, spiders, that sort of thing. And of course they eat fish and chips. They eat fish and chips, burgers and chips. They like nothing better than a mouldy old sandwich. Hi Sharon, nice to see you here in the flesh. So I've asked the question, what actually hibernates in the UK? There are 3 mammals that hibernate in the UK in the winter. Can you name any of them? Can you guess without googling it? Call you, okay, Mimin. Sounds like me and me. Mimin. Oh, are you from Indonesia then, Mimin? That is very cool. Beautiful part of the world. Right, now I need a black. Have I got a black over here? Yes, I have. Oh, look at that. Fancy. So I'm going to give him some little black tips to the edge of his, just that top bit of his ear there. Have you ever seen a red fox cub? They are really dark. You wouldn't, if you didn't know it, you wouldn't know they were a fox. They look like a black puppy dog. And I'm just going to do a little bit on his snout as well, and his nose, but I'm going to leave a little white blob there in the middle so that it looks like it's a bit kind of shiny. I'm just going to try and see if I can focus that a bit better, so bear with. Okay, good, right, we're in business. Groovy. Okay, so what colour should we do his legs? Now, I wonder whether he's going to be wearing trousers. I think I'm going to do the same colour so it just looks like the only thing he's got on is a coat, and I'm going to change that coat colour in a minute because it's too similar to what we've got going on with the fur. So I'm just, all he's wearing is the coat in terms of clothing and shoes. So this is 2 layers. This is my slightly paley orange, and then with a bit of red over the top of it. And then I'm going to give him, let's give him a dark green coat. Just going to do that little bit there because I missed that. So it's dark green over the top of a bit of orange, so make it a little bit more olivey coloured. And he's going to have a sort of Nordic scarf, so I'm going to do some pattern on his scarf there. So for us this is day, what are we on now? Day 3 of lockdown number 2. And a lot of people really hate it, and I can understand why. It must be, for some people, you know, if you're in a situation where perhaps your home life is difficult or you're on your own, it must be just awful. But I'm really lucky. I have my husband and my 2 grown-up boys. There's 4 of us rattling around inside a house, and I don't mind too much because I don't mind being on my own for some of the time. I'm not sure I'd like it so much if it was all day and all night, but you know, I'm not going to complain because there are people who are far worse off than I, and we're doing it for a very good reason, aren't we? I wonder what it's like wherever you are in the world, how things are going for you guys. Having said that, I did have to go out yesterday to go to the chemist or pharmacy, and there was quite a few people around in my town. Not as many as you would normally expect, but more than there were in the first lockdown. So I don't know if people have become a little bit more lackadaisical about the whole thing, or I don't know. Maybe I was hoping, because the only reasons we're supposed to be out are for medical reasons, getting shopping that you can't do without, food shopping, an emergency like a care situation or something, or for a bit of exercise. And I did wonder, I did like to give people the benefit of the doubt and think, well, they're probably all out doing one of those things. But frankly, who knows? I did see 2 ladies out jogging this morning as I was walking the dog, and they were not socially distant, and they were heavily breathing all over each other as they were chatting as they were going along, so I'm not sure that is such a great idea. And I had a brief sort of email conversation with someone I know in Australia this morning, and he was saying they've just had their, I think he said 7th day with 0 cases, so that's fantastic news for those guys. I think they've handled things very well out there. Okay, so we've got a Nordic scarf. I think what I might do is, I wanted to try a few different things today. So I've got here a Tombow brush pen, and if you've never used a brush pen before, they've normally got two ends to them. So they've got the end that's got the brush, and then they've got an end that's more like a thick fine liner. So I'm just going to dot a few little green blobs along there. I think that's looking quite cute. Another pen I've used sometimes is a Friction. This is a Pilot Friction colours, and the great thing about these is you can rub them out. So if you make a mistake or something, you can go back and get rid. I'll show you on the bottom of this bit of paper down here. You have to let it dry first though, so I'm going to leave that for just a moment, come back to it in a sec. Put that down there so I don't forget it. And the other thing I wanted to show you as well was these jelly roll pens. They are probably the best ones for doing, they're white over the top of a colour, particularly the 10 is probably the best one for doing if you've got want to do some white over the top of something. Or the other way of doing it is using some of this stuff. This is a mask pen. You can get it in all sorts of different, it's just masking fluid inside a squeezy bottle, and when you take this, I haven't really got a use for it today, but you take the end off and it's like almost like a pen, and you squeeze that out, you let it dry, because it comes out, it's a bit like rubber. You let it dry, and then it holds the colour underneath. So if you wanted it white, you put it straight onto the paper, then you can paint over it, and then when the paint's dry you can rub it off, and you can also put it on top of a bit of colour and do the same thing, so that you're preserving whatever colour you want. Let's see if that's dry enough. Okay, keep your fingers crossed. This is live science on air. Oh yes, it works. Thank goodness for that. Gone. It's good, isn't it? So you can use these come in a variety of colours. You can use that for even just things like writing in your diary or your calendar would do the job. Okay, next up I'm going to do a tree. So I've got a variety of different browns. Which one should we start with? I'm going to start with this one. And also I really need to do his shoes, because his shoes are in black. So I'm going to have to do that in a moment. When you're using your pencils, if you just turn them every now and then, every few strokes, turn them, it keeps the point sharp. Did you know foxes are the only dog or canine that can retract its claws like a cat can? So if you're looking for fox paw prints in the snow or in the mud or something, then they kind of do look like a cat print almost, because they haven't got the claws like you see with a dog print. And the other way of knowing that you have a fox nearby is by the poo. Sorry if you're eating your dinner or having your breakfast, but their poo is really different to dog poo. Lovely subject, isn't it? But then the poo or the scat is kind of long and thin and tapers off at the end. I think that's probably the best way to describe it. And if you've got a dog who's ever rolled in fox poo, you'll know about it. So it's pretty stinky. The other way to tell if it is fox poo is sometimes it'll have remains of whatever it's eaten. So if it's had a mouse for dinner, there might be a few little tiny bones in its poop. Okay, now I'm going to go in with a slightly darker, in fact I'm going to use my darkest brown. Which way? So we've got a moon up here. I think we'll have a bit of moonlight coming, so the light's going to be coming from over this side. So I shall just darken up this side a little bit. It'd be nice to have some music on as well, wouldn't it? I have recently invested in a company called Epidemic Sound. I've bought their monthly subscription so that I can use much groovier music on my videos. However, I didn't know how to have it running at the same time as you know, live streaming, so I thought I would, to make life simpler, I would just sing to you. No, I'm joking, I'm not going to sing to you. Only joking. Don't go. Right, I'm going to have a quick look at the chat. Hello. Who haven't I said hello to yet? Right, I haven't said hello to Artisan Arts. Good morning from Texas. Hello Texas, how are you doing this morning? Is it hot? Hello, I said hello Sharon, didn't I? Hello Tulip. Haha, you're in Texas too, are you? That's cool. What's the weather like this morning? Are you pleased it's all over? I won't say what. We won't mention the word, and we won't mention who. But well, it's been quite a few days, hasn't it? Probably best not to think about it too much, really. It can make the old blood pressure go up, whichever way you chose to go. Right, now, I don't know how well you can see. I'm going to hold it up a little bit actually. You see those little eyes poking out. This is one of the things that I find myself doing a lot, is drawing eyes inside trees. I don't know why. Who knows? Okay, different brown. Who knows? When I go around and do my school visits with my books, did I mention I do? I think I mentioned I write and illustrate children's books, picture books. I love picture books so much. I've got more picture books than is strictly necessary. But so when I go to schools and I show children my books, and I say to them, oh look, there's something inside that tree. What do you think it could be? I mean, the answers I get are priceless. I get things from, oh, it could be a rabbit, or it could be a fairy, to, is it a rhinoceros? What else have we had? Pink things like, you know, is it a jellyfish? Is it a monster? And I tell them I don't know. You have to make up your own mind. Even I don't know, and I drew the picture. So my next book, the current book I'm working on at the moment, well actually there's two, I'll tell you about them both. So one is for a publisher, because I mostly indie publish my own books, and that gives me more sort of control over what goes in it, and how the thing looks and how it works together and that sort of thing. But I've decided that, well, this year I was asked to do a picture book for a publisher called Medina Publishing, and we worked on a book together about washing your hands for kindergarten age, so sort of 3, 4, 5-year-olds, to show you the importance of washing your hands. They did have a book out previously that was all to do with why it's important to wash your hands after you've been to the toilet. But when we got to the start of this year, they decided that they would like to update it. Excuse me. They wanted to update it. I can't think why, but they decided they wanted to update it. So of course, I'm joking, because of COVID, instead of it being toilet focused, it was more focused on washing your hands and not passing germs on between one another. So that's been something that's been ongoing for me, and I think we're almost there. We're pretty much just about going to print, so that's quite exciting. And then the other one that I'm working on, that as of yet, well, it's actually part of a series that I'm making for that I'm videoing, called Make a Picture Book. You'll find the playlist on my channel, and because I've had an idea, a series of ideas for my character Vincent the Vegetarian Vampire Bat, he was actually my first ever book that that was published, and I wrote it years and years and years ago when I was at university, and I wanted to write a book about somebody who sort of like had a bit of adversity. I think that's, when you're writing a story, you need some sort of conflict, otherwise it's just really boring. So his conflict was that he was a vegetarian vampire bat, but he hates the sight of blood, and he won't eat what his brothers and sisters eat. He just wants to eat blackberries. And that was, I think, probably my second bestseller out of all my books. My bestseller is Royal Fleas, but I decided that I really wanted to write another book with him in it, but him being the hero. So that's what I've been working on this year. It's him and a mermaid. Right, I need the red. Which red should I use? Put those two. I think I'm going to use this darker one. See how that looks for the post box. So the funny thing is about the story that I'm working on at the moment, Vincent, I'm calling it at the moment Vincent and the Mermaid. That's its working title. The funny thing is that when I came to make it into a picture book, which normally is 32 pages long, that's the sort of convention, is that a picture book is 32 pages, and it has to be, generally speaking, less than 1,000 words. I suddenly discovered that my story did not want to fit into that constraint, and it has ended up being a picture book for older children, which I have done one of those before. I did one called Wally and Bert, actually, and Bluebell's new school as well. She's a witch who doesn't want to go to witchy school anymore. She wants to go to normal school. That was also a picture book for older children. When I say older children, I'm thinking of the sort of something like the 6 to 9s. And picture books normally are for 3 to 6-year-old children-ish. So I think Vincent and the Mermaid is going to be, well, it's certainly a lot longer. I think it's, at last count, was about 2,500 words. So much too many to go into a traditional picture book. And the reason for that really is because of children's attention span at that age. It's much better to have fewer words, and for those words to work hard to get the story across, than it is to have lots of descriptive, flowery language and the sort of thing that perhaps an older child would enjoy. I'm just looking at the chat. So I see that, let's see, tulip, 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Is that, we're all in Celsius over here. I don't know what that's probably quite warm, isn't it? Is it? California, I bet that's warm. Okay. Well, it's lovely to have you guys from the States with me, and that's part of the reason why I decided to do the weekend at 3 o'clock in the afternoon for me, was because I wanted to be able to connect with you in the States. In fact, my aunt, my lovely, lovely aunt, lives on Rhode Island. On Rhode Island or in Rhode Island? Anyway, over in New York State. And gosh, I hope I'm getting my geography right. Anyway, she was lived in the UK for many years, and has just recently remarried and gone back to the United States of America. So I miss her terribly, and hope she's having a wonderful time. But so I've got a bit of a vested interest really in all things American. I remember when I was a little girl, she and my uncle would quite often go to visit her family, and they would come back with loads of American sweets and stuff that you just could not get here. Mind you, it's a lot easier these days, because if you go to Tesco's, I don't know if you have a Tesco's anywhere else, but it's like a massive supermarket here. You can buy American sweets, no trouble whatsoever. You can buy Twinkies, Hershey's, all sorts. Alright, that's my limit of American sweet knowledge. Other things of all sorts of like blue and green colours and goodness knows what. Right, so that bit down the bottom has to be black. I'm just wondering what's, because that's really probably red, that little bit in the middle there. I'm going to do it paler red though, so it doesn't just melt into the background. But I did, in my early 20s, I lived in Australia, in Sydney, and got very hooked to the root beer. Bundaberg root beer is just amazing. So if at a later time today you're watching this and you're from the Antipodes from us, you're really lucky, because Bundaberg, delicious. What else is, I know what else that you couldn't get here at the time was the Maggi chili sauce, and I was absolutely addicted to that. I would put it on everything. But again, you can get it here now, so I don't need to go shopping in Oz. I worked for a Lebanese fruit and veg shop, and they made smoothies, which I never had anything like it before. We didn't have anything like it in the UK at the time. Just whizzed up fruit that made a drink. It was like heaven. And because we worked for a pittance, they let us just have what we wanted. So I used to drink a lot of mushed up pineapple and ginger, watermelon, and yeah, delicious. Oh, and they taught me how to make Lebanese tabbouleh, which was amazing. It was just the most delicious salady type food ever. I've just realised I need to do this pour. Let's see if I can pick up the right orange. No, that's not the right orange. That's the right orange. And then a bit of red over the top. Actually, they could have had a little bit of white at the end, couldn't they? Where's my red gone? I think it was this one. I might try out the old I'm going to try out the jelly roll pens just on the end there to give him a little bit of sort of white sock type look. There we go. Cool. Now, if you were watching yesterday, you might remember that I said I always colour in their irises. So what colour do you think I ought to colour in Mr. Foxy's irises? Give you a few moments to have a think about it. What else can I tell you about foxes? I did a little bit of research. So they, oh, I know what I'm going to tell you about foxes. So they around about this time of year they mate, and then they have their babies in springtime. So if you ever go out for a walk in the middle of the night, or happen to be coming home from work or something like that, and you hear what you think is some poor person being murdered to death, it might be a fox, because they just scream like you wouldn't believe. It was pretty terrifying. I remember the first time I'd ever heard it was when my eldest son was born. He was one of these babies that would cry a lot. I think he had really bad croup, bless him. So he used to cry in the middle of the night a lot. So we used to take him out for a bit of a walk, try and soothe him. And one night we were walking into Newport where I live, and there was this horrendous noise. Honestly, I thought someone was being attacked, but it was a fox. They just make this amazing shrieking noise. I'm just trying to bring in a bit more green and red so it gives us the idea, sort of subtly, without spelling it out, that it's kind of winter and Christmassy time. And then I think I'm going to do, I'm not sure whether to do the sky or not. I might just do a bit of the, I think I'll do a bit of the path. And then I probably will, what time are we up to? Yes, I'm going to leave the sky and do the sky at a later date, because that will take a little bit of time. But I have uploaded this to that link yesterday. If you've already gone onto it, that link I put up yesterday with all the pictures on, then you might need to redo it, because I'm not sure if you'll get the updated one. If you haven't already gone to the link, then I've put I can email you all of the links to the Google Drive where I uploaded the pictures that I've done this week, and you can use those just, you know, for inspiration or tracing off and doing your own version. If you've already done it and you want today's one, okay. Oh, and the last thing I'm going to do is just put a little bit of red in there, because that is a bit red. So come on then, which mammals do you think hibernate in the UK? Bearing in mind we don't have any bears, wolves, or you know, big scary things. Snakes. So there's our lovely little foxy fella in his Nordic scarf, on the way to post his Christmas cards. Hope you like that. I think it's quite cool. Cool. So I just want to say thanks so much for joining me in the last few days. It's been a bit of a blast, and certainly it's been a bit of a learning curve, shall I say, sort of on the tech front, but I finally, on the last day, got it fixed. And I'm very grateful for your patience with me and yeah, kind of joining in with me. It's been really cool. If you want to have a look at my website, julesmarrinerbooks.com, then you can see all of the courses that I run and my picture books and stuff like that. So if you want to get anything for Christmas for anyone you know, I write for about sort of 3-year-olds up to about 9, then I will be very happy to sign a sweet little message inside the cover for them, or whoever it's for. Just let me know. Let's have a quick look at the chat again. JV, hi! How you doing today? Oh, I didn't do the eyes, did I? Let's go back and do the eyes very, very quickly. Lordy. Right, quick, green eyes. There we go. Green eyes. That's better. Much better. Okay, now, as to the question, the hibernation question. So which mammals hibernate in the UK? It's dormice. If you've ever seen dormouse, oh my goodness me, you have to get, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go and Google dormouse. So it's D-O-R mouse, not double-O. Dormice, hedgehogs and bats, so all the bat species, they all hibernate. Squirrels don't, foxes don't, what else comes up regularly? No birds do, but if you're not a mammal, you might also hibernate if you are a butterfly or a moth, if you don't die off for the year. And what else? There's a few sort of insects and stuff like that. Oh, mason bees and queen bumblebees as well. The queens are the big mummy ones. And they're brilliant. I've had those in my garden before. Excellent animals. So I think it's just starting to rain here. It's gone very dark, so if you can still see me, you're doing really well. I'm going to go and make my Sunday roast. What are you having for your dinner today or your afternoon tea? I'm going to have roast potatoes and corn fillet, which is like vegetarian stuff, and some carrots and that sort of thing. So that's what I'm going to be going to do now. Tomorrow I will be filming another video called Killer Endings. So last week's video was Killer First Lines, and I'm going to be talking about how to finish your stories, because sometimes that was the worst thing when you're writing a story, is you just kind of tail off and you think, I just don't know how to finish this. I don't know what to do. I can't do anything with it. So I'm going to tell you how you can finish your story off. What's a good way, and maybe give a few examples of great endings, and then I will be doing my last ever bullet journal video. So they're planned with me for December. I've been doing them for 2 years now, but the thing that people seem to really like is the publishing videos and the drawing tutorials. So that's what I'm going to be concentrating on. I'm going to bring you loads and loads of useful, well, hopefully useful information for if you're on a publishing journey to publish your own book. So keep your eyes peeled for that sort of thing. And yeah, and so my last plan with me for December will be something I'm going to be doing this week. December, we've only just started November. What's going on? Anyway, I think that's it. Yeah, I think we are drawing to a finish. So I just want to say thanks everyone again. I'm going to name you all: Sharon, Julep, JV, Artisan Arts. Who else have we got in there? Have I missed somebody? Marilyn and Mimin. It's been amazing to have you all. So thanks so much for joining in, and I will see you again soon. Bye for now.